Hello, everyone. We will begin shortly, and I'll ask everyone who has a camera to turn it on as long as they feel comfortable. This vid, I am live streaming this meeting currently to YouTube, and if people don't have their cameras on, it looks a little weird, and you only just see one person for the whole meeting. So yeah, if you could turn on your camera at 7, that would be great. Thank you. For the senators in the room, please make sure to change your name to senator and your last name. For those of you that are chairpersons, put chairperson in your last name. This is just to differentiate between guests and senators. Thank you. Hi everyone. Sorry. We'll start at 7:05. We're just trying to ensure that we meet quorum to be able to discuss and vote on business. So again, if you are a voting member of Senate, which means you are a sitting senator, please change your name to senator and your last name so that we can differentiate between who is a senator and who is a visitor. Okay, hi everyone. We officially met. Great. Um, we actually will not turn on our cameras. You know, if one of us does it, none of us does it. Um, if one of us doesn't do it, then none of us does it. Yeah, that's what I meant. So yes, we will into the meeting because we have a couple of budgets to finish off before we begin the semester. So I will call the meeting to order and we will begin with roll call.
Senator Allapi? Senator Otla?
Here.
Senator Ballschmider? Senator Bolio?
Here.
Senator Biedron? Senator Bouchard?
Here.
Senator Daniels?
Here.
Senator Dupree?
Here.
Senator Dillon? Senator Do Nascimento? Senator Gagnon? Senator Lemieux?
Here.
Senator Oros?
Here.
Senator Pavlik? Senator Pelletier? Senator Ritchie? Senator Rodriguez?
Here.
Senator Sidlecki? Senator Sweeney?
Here.
Senator Warren?
Here.
Secretary Brown? Secretary Goodman?
Here.
Chairperson Greenwood? Chairperson Mariquin?
Here.
Treasurer Thurston?
Here.
Chairperson Silver?
Here.
Vice President Kilday?
Here.
President Amaya?
Here. Great, thank you for that. So the minutes at this time, I motion to accept the minutes from the 6/24/2026 summer special meeting.
Second.
Great. Thank you for the second. Were there any additions, deletions, or revisions that anyone saw? I believe they were posted to the Kodiak. They should also be in Secretary Brown's section on the Microsoft group. Great. Seeing none, then we will move to a voice vote. All those in favor, you can unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Those opposed? Those abstaining? With that, the motion passes and the minutes are accepted. Great. Move on to new and existing business, starting with level D, initial budget approvals. I'm going to hand the floor off to Treasurer Thurston to begin with Golden Bear Band.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I hope you are all having a great summer. With that being said, I'll put forward my recommendation. So at this time, I make the recommendation for Golden Bear Band to receive a level D initial allocation of $3,200.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Hearing a second, then we'll move into a 5-minute discussion. Treasurer, the floor is yours.
Perfect, thank you. So this allocation was tabled at our 4/28/2026 budget meeting due to a discrepancy in allocating the club in advance for fixing instruments. The treasurer and I have come to an agreement that it makes the most sense to provide an additional allocation for instruments that must be fixed on a need-be basis. I think that instruments getting broken are somewhat unpredictable, so it's hard to put a sufficient line item in the request to accurately represent the cost of fixing this item. So I cut $600 from two line items that totaled $1,500, leaving the club with $900 for cords and amps and music as they needed. And as noted before, I am more than willing to work with the clubs for an additional allocation as needed.
Thank you. I believe a representative from Golden Bear Band is here and wanted to speak a little bit about this.
Yeah, it's true. That's
Yeah,
me.
correct.
Great. Justin,
Yeah.
the floor is yours.
Thank you. Treasurer Thurston, I've been in a little email chain along with you, President Blanca, for the past couple days. And I did agree to take that pay cut, seeing as if there are instruments that do break in the semester, I can just accept an initial allocation later in the semester because we came to an agreement that, money spent is not always going to be certain on instrument repairs and that we can do it on the need be basis and that Treasurer Thurston did not want money to be allocated to something that the Senate didn't approve of. That being said, I hope that in the second year of me being a treasurer, I can lay the foreground for bands being a very financially responsible club and in the future probably ask for a higher allocation.
Great, thank you for that, Justin. We'll open the floor to any senators' comments or questions. Okay, seeing none, then we are going to move to a group me vote.
It'll be up in 1 second, sorry.
Yes. The group me poll is up right now, so please vote on that. Okay. With 11 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Congratulations to the Golden Bear Band for your initial allocation. I look forward to seeing those collaborations. Okay, we will remain in the level D initial budget allocations and move on to the Westerner. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm actually going to move to table this recommendation because I anticipated having a response back from the Republican on the Westerners' minimum cost per copies, but I haven't gotten a response from them, so I don't think I could put forward an accurate recommendation without having these numbers.
Okay. With that being said, I motion to table the Westerners' initial budget approval until the next fall meeting. Thank you. Hearing a second, then we will move to a voice vote. All those in favor, please unmute and say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Those abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. For everyone here, for everyone's note, tabling item means that we will go over this for the next meeting. It will be one of the first priorities. Moving on, we will go into the WNEK initial budget approval. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. At this time, I make the recommendation to initially allocate WNEK a level D initial allocation of $5,268.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry, my microphone was not working with me. Hearing a second, I will allocate 5 minutes to this discussion. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. So upon looking at the request, I decided to cut $2,000 that the club requested for the stage for their KMF. Given the past year's attendance, paying that amount for a stage is just not justified. I also brainstormed some other options that they can use. For example, doing it underneath Commonwealth Lawn, like spring event. It would also prevent issues with the rain. It can also be done on Rivers. Rivers has a stage there, and they can also use the risers in Rock Cafe. I'm also recommending to cut the $250 from equipment repair. This is practically the same thing that I just talked about with band allocation. I don't want to allocate something towards something that we don't really necessarily know the total amount for the specific line item. So I'll recommend that to be an additional allocation when the equipment breaks. And then I'm just generally not looking to fund something that's not guaranteed to break or have an exact price. So these cuts bring me to $2,250 and my recommendation of $5,268 that I am now putting forward.
Thank you, Treasurer Thurston. I will now open the floor up to any senators' comments or questions, and also if the representative of WNEK would like to speak on behalf of the club, please raise your hand.
Yeah, I can speak.
Okay, great. Ryan Priestley, for the sake of the minutes. Floor is yours.
Thank you. So a couple things. Number one, I do understand the question of the expenses of the stage. Historically, at least from my understanding, we have used the stage in order to have a higher rise than the risers will give us, but also I'm not entirely sure how the conversation went, but I know it was discussed that we would do it under the pavilion on Commonwealth Lawn, and that was used by Spring Event instead, so we used the stage and the other side. That can be, a separate issue, and doing it in Rivers. We've talked amongst our own e-board. We do prefer doing it outdoors, but again, that can be a topic for a later date. As for equipment repair and replacement, this budget was written up before I was elected, but there are a great deal of things that I could put under that line item, and the $250, at least to me, seems to be actually an undervaluation. We have already discussed amongst ourselves looking at getting new cables. We've been progressively expanding our options for our live sound events, which do seem to bring in the most attention to the club, but also things like our amplifier dying in the middle of KMF was not ideal. So if you'd like, I can speak to, more tangible aspect of that line item.
Specifically, the line item is for the equipment repair. So same thing with band instruments. Like they're predicting that they're going to have to fix instruments in middle of the semester from overuse, which I understand. But I'm not going to allocate or recommend allocating you guys that amount of money if we don't know the exact price, exactly when it's going to be done. So I prefer, like I'm doing with other clubs, to give you guys an additional allocation for that. As for KMF and Spring Event, to my knowledge, KMF was, or WNEK was not partnering with Spring Event to hold KMF. So the pavilion or on Commonwealth would be available for you both or for the club to use. As for the risers not being high enough, I don't really think that's a valid excuse to go and pay $2,000 on a stage where there's not going to be many other students in attendance. So I think that if in the coming years we see that attendance rise, maybe we could put that into consideration again. But right now, it's just not something that I'm open to doing.
With that, yeah, my alarm just went off. I don't know if anyone can hear it right now. So with that being said, then we are going to move into a group me vote and group me very shortly. The group me poll is open now. Please vote on that. Okay. With 10 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Congratulations to WNEK for your initial budget allocation. I can't wait to see how KMF evolves under this new semester, this new year. Yeah, congratulations. With that being said, we will now move on to club sports and active lifestyle initial budget approvals. However, before we get into this, I just wanted to explain club sports and active lifestyle clubs. Treasurer Thurston has drafted a policy that will be approved soon with the help of Director Grimm and Student Involvement Connections to differentiate between what is a club sport and what would be considered an active lifestyle organization. This is because the Student Senate is moving towards no longer funding organizations that identify as club sport. However, we will still remain overseeing organizations that are active lifestyle. Treasurer Thurston will eventually publish the policy. However, the difference between a club sport and an active lifestyle club is organizations that are club sports compete against other collegiate teams. They're competitive by nature. And active lifestyle is an organization that does kind of recreational activities, but they don't compete against other colleges. With that being said, that we are going to move into approving the budgets for them, because this is one of the last times that Senate will completely fund or partially fund club sports. With that, Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm actually going to motion to table cheer as our first club because they haven't gotten a response back to me on their status for clubs for active lifestyle, which I did give them time to think about. So they're probably going to do it the first meeting of the semester.
Great, thank you for that. This time I motion to table the cheer initial budget approval. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Hearing a second, then we'll move to a voice vote. All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All those opposed? Those abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Next, we'll move on to dance team. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So at this time, I make the recommendation to initially allocate Dance Club $5,000.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a second, I will allocate 5 minutes to this discussion. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So the dance team is remaining as an active lifestyle club for the upcoming academic year, meaning they will not participate in competitions and will be funded by the Senate. Since this is typically what the team receives and they haven't given me any reason to make cuts, I'm recommending their full request. As stated, this amount isn't out of the ordinary, but has been the same for the past few years, and the team has given us minimal issues.
Thank you. I will now open the floor up to any senators' comments or question, or if the representative is here, although this is an uncontested amount.
As a senator and as a representative for the e-board for dance team, we just want to say thank you and we appreciate working with the Senate always. So.
Great, thank you, Senator Warren. With that being said, since this is an uncontested budget, we will move on to a voice vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Those abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Congratulations to the dance team. I can't wait to see what you do with the budget. I know last year was a year where we definitely saw the dance team put on some events independently, so I can't wait to see how you all build on that. That being said, we will move on to rugby. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Before beginning, can I ask if there is a representative from rugby here today? Okay, I motion to table this to the next meeting.
That being said, I motion to table the rugby's initial budget approval. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a second, then we'll move to a voice vote. All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Those opposed? Those abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Rugby is tabled. We'll now move on to ski and snowboard. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thanks. So at this time, I make the recommendation for ski and snowboard to receive a $5,000 initial allocation.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Hearing on, then I'll allocate 5 minutes to this discussion.
Thank you. So ski and snowboard is another active lifestyle club that is funded underneath the Senate. They have received this allocation in prior years, so it is uncontested. We do a great job at holding engaging events, following policies, and even communicating with myself. I have found no reason to cut this club, so I am recommending to fund their full request.
Great. With that being said, I'll open the floor to any senators' comments or questions, or if the representative would like to speak on behalf of the club, although this is an uncontested budget. Great. Seeing none, then we are going to move to a voice vote. All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
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 Those opposed? Those abstaining? With that, the motion passes. Congratulations to the Ski and Snowboard Club on receiving your initial budget allocation. I can't wait to see what you do with that. Next, we'll be doing Ultimate Frisbee. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. At this time, I make the recommendation for Ultimate Frisbee to receive an initial allocation of $2,000.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Hearing a second, then I will allocate 5 minutes to this discussion. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, Ultimate Frisbee is an example of a club sport that competes against other teams. Recently, I created the policy that states, and I quote, student organizations that compete against other collegiate teams, unless the competition is directly tied to an academic program, will be classified as club sports. Groups within this classification must be approved and managed by Western New England Athletics. Financial support for these clubs is the responsibility of the club members through dues, fundraising, and other approved revenue sources. Due to this new policy change, the Senate is moving towards not funding club sports at all by fiscal year 2028. This $2,000 recommendation reflects the Senate's attempt to provide some assistance now to help clubs make the transition to us not funding them at all by fiscal year 28.
Thank you, Treasurer Thurston. At this time, I'll open the floor to any Senate comments or questions, or to the representative of Ultimate Frisbee.
Hi, yep. I see that reflects the next year's attempt to go on to the dues of that. Do you know if athletics will be working this year with us to help do any like partial funding of the club? Just because I know like in the past like 2 years, it's definitely a steep drop off of what our budgets were. I know like 2 years ago, I want to say we were around like 10,000, and last year we got 5,000, and this year we're down to 2,000. So I don't know. And last year I know like athletics had like no help for anything with us, even when we like tried to get more money from them, or even just help with like hosting events. So
Yes. So, as Treasurer Thurston kind of stated in the policy, it will be up to the club sports primarily to gain funds. You will not be funded by athletics. So, the organization will have to do fundraising efforts such as collaborating with Hot Table or Texas Roadhouse, maybe selling shirts and stuff like that. However, if your organization is feeling a little lost and confused, please feel free to reach out to Bridget Grimm and Caitlin Bevins, and they'll be able to connect you with the person who will be overseeing club sports, and perhaps they might have more of an explanation for you about what support they will provide.
okay, and I thought I read in the email that I got sent about it that we are able to ask for like a secondary allocation from Student Senate.
Yes.
Okay. Just because I know like we have to through the organization that we play in, we have to like meet a certain number of criteria of like games and stuff like that in order to qualify for like playoffs and stuff like that. And the tournaments that we play like have like certain set like cost criteria and stuff like that. So
Treasurer Thurston will be able to explain that more to you and to see if that would be possible.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't really talk on it much right now because there obviously has been no effort since it's the summertime, we're not at school, to do any like dues fundraising or find any like revenue sources. So I think that come the fall, I'll do my best to connect you with, I believe, Lori Mayhew, who will be likely overseeing the club sports. And she could definitely give you more information on that, and I can help you out as well as my advisor. So
I know also in the past, club sports was limited how expensive they're able to make their dues. Like I know it was only like $150 or something like that. Is that still going to be the case?
I'm not sure. I will bring that up because that wasn't discussed upon this new policy creation. So that's a good question. Thank you.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Seeing as the conversation has naturally expired, we will move to a group me vote that will be posted very shortly.
It should be up now.
Great. So with 11 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Congratulations to Ultimate Frisbee for your initial budget allocation. We will now move on to Volleyball Club's initial budget allocation. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to ask again, is there a representative from this club here? All right, cool. Blanca, we could table this as well.
That being said, I motion to table the Volleyball Club's initial budget allocation.
Second.
Great. Hearing a second, then we'll move to a voice vote. Those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
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 Opposed? Those. With that, the motion passes. Volleyball Club is tabled. Before we move on to class council initial budget approvals, I just want to take a moment to count and make sure that we're still meeting quorums. Sorry. Okay, we are still at quorum. We will now move on to class council initial budget approvals. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Just to note, this is another uncontested budget. So at this time, I make the recommendation for 2028 class council to receive a class council initial allocation of $13,000.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Hearing a second, then I will allocate 5 minutes to this discussion. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thanks. So this allocation is the standard amount for a junior class council. The reason why I've waited a little bit to recommend this council was because I needed to confirm whether the new executive board was planning on holding a semi-formal or not. As the semi-formal would contribute significantly to the budget, I wanted to ensure they were holding one, in which they are. So I am recommending the standard amount that these junior class councils generally receive.
Thank you. I'll open the floor to any senators' comments or questions, although this is an uncontested budget. Okay, great. Seeing none, then we will move to a voice vote. All those in favor, please unmute and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Those opposed? Those abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Congratulations to the class council of 2028. I can't wait to see how your semi-formal comes out. We will now move on to level D initial budget approvals continued. This was because they worked with Treasurer Thurston since they would be arriving late to the meeting. So Treasurer Thurston, I will now give the floor to you.
Thank you. At this time, I make the recommendation for Stages players to receive a level D initial allocation of $16,865.
So moved.
Second.
Great. Hearing a second, then I will allocate 6 minutes to this discussion. Treasurer Thurston, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So this budget was tabled during the 4/28/2026 meeting as their executive board and I weren't sure if their revenue from the spring play was going to be used to cover the licensing for the fall and spring plays in this coming academic year. Since these plays were covered and they are budgeted out in their request, I cut that from their budget, which totaled $3,500. I'm also sticking to cutting the $750 from their budget for the Tech Week food, as the policy that all clubs and organizations must follow states that there is a maximum of $250 per year or $125 per semester. With that being said, in order to get funds for the Tech Week food, the club can seek fundraising, like selling t-shirts or even work with Advancement to generate ideas on different ways to fundraise. And I know that Charlotte had spoke with Bridget on additional ways as well, so that can be referred to in the email. It can also be requested through an additional allocation, but personally, I'd like to see the club make an effort towards fundraising first before putting that request forward. The request of $21,115 minus my total cuts of $4,250, which was just the licensing and the additional tech week food of $750 brings my recommendation to $16,865.
Thank you. I will now open the floor to any senators' comments or questions. I'll also open it up to the representative of the Staged Players if you would like to speak on behalf of your organization.
Hi, yes, I'm the representative for Stageless today. Thank you for working with us in terms of coming up with alternative ways to fund Tech Week food. We'll definitely be looking into those other fundraising opportunities, though with our very strict and time-consuming rehearsal schedule, holding outside events can be very difficult for us. So we will try to make an effort to look into those opportunities, but time-wise, that may be a bit strenuous for our club and for the people in it. Because of that, we may also be looking to our revenue in order to help fund some of that food cost. But with that, I just wanted to say ahead of time that we will likely like to meet with you and Bridget this semester to kind of discuss how our revenue will be used going forward, because all of our revenue went into the funding for our fall and spring show this semester. And therefore, using any of our revenue for food this upcoming year will cut into that final amount, and we may not have sufficient funding for our fall or spring shows because of it. So I think we would like to meet with you separately sometime this year to kind of talk about how that finances for our club are going to look in the years going forward.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I am graduating this coming spring, so I think it would be good to meet so I can get a better grasp on your finances, just because when I am training a new treasurer, they won't know, so I can fill them in on that as well. But I think that's a great idea. I look forward to planning that in the fall.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, again, the floor is open to any senators' comments or questions. Great. Seeing as the conversation has naturally expired, then we will move to a group me vote that will be posted shortly. It is
It's up.
posted right now. Thank you. Okay, with 10 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Congratulations to the Stageless Players. I can't wait to see how your fall and spring programs go on, and to see any of the events that you could hopefully make time for. With that being said, we are going to move into visitors' comments. Are there any visitors' comments at this time? Great. Seeing none, then we will move into reports. Starting with the finance chairperson, Treasurer Thurston. I will allocate 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I don't really have too much to report on. I am creating a main Excel to link to all the other Excels of the club's budgets. So I don't have to open up 60 clubs, individual Excels when I need to view how much they've spent. So clubs, if you don't have your budget in the Excel that I shared and you made a copy, please put it in the shared one. if you don't know where the shared one is, I could reshare it or email you the link. Just please get that done. I am also working on drafting emails to clubs regarding their initial allocations, attaching the advisor, treasurer, and president of the club. So when they're back on campus, they'll get an email with how much they've been allocated if it was uncontested and they didn't come to the meeting, or if they simply forgot. That's really it for me. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Any questions for the finance chairperson's report? Great. Seeing none, then we will move on to the legislative chairperson. I will allocate 3 minutes. Chairperson Silver, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I don't really have anything particularly exciting, but I've just been pretty much going through and trying to figure out which constitutions need to be updated. So that's something that I can get working on as soon as we're back on campus. But other than that, more to come. But that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the legislative chairperson's report? Great. Seeing none, then we will move into the campus relations chairperson report. I will allocate 3 minutes. Chairperson Mara Quinn, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone. I don't have a lot in terms of updates. I will be emailing Nick before we get back on campus so I can get kind of an overview of what has been happening in terms of repairs and like updates around. But other than that, I really have no other comment. Just a reminder that the student government forms are due August 31st at 11:59 and that the canopy and tablecloth applications are still open. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for the campus relations chairperson report? Great. Seeing none, then public relations is not here, so we will move on to the Secretary of Academic Affairs. I will allocate 3 minutes. Secretary Goodman, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I definitely don't need all 3 minutes. So it's basically the same thing as last time we spoke a little over a month ago. I have nothing new going on right now. I just look forward to reaching out and gathering all the old information from the previous secretary, Secretary Bronson. And I'm also staying as up to date as I possibly can on any Canvas updates and how to get us over from Kodiak onto what they're now calling Kodiak Canvas. So I can keep everybody posted once the semester starts and everything starts to really heat up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the academic secretary report? Great. Seeing none, then we will move on to senators' comments. Are there any senators' comments? Great. Seeing none, then we will move to adjourn. At this time, I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Great. Hearing a second, then we will do a voice vote. All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Goodbye, everyone. Have a nice summer. I'll see you in August.
Bye.
Bye. Enjoy your summer.
Thank you.